everybody, to Harbor Discussions, interview number 12. I'm in here with Todd J. Phillips.
Yes. What's up, everybody? Peace. Todd J. Phillips here.
Yep, he was in here when I interviewed Trey Cheney last year. I'm going to have that linked in the description. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out, guys. Todd spoke a little bit in that interview.
Yes.
Before we get started, just promote your social media pages. Let people know where they can find you, where they can find your barbershop, and then how they can hit you up if they want to get a beat or something like that.
At IG, Be a True Legend. I have a Harrisburg, PA, True Legends Barbershop, 3964 Jonestown Road. So if you're ever in the area, even if you're coming through, stop through. Phone number 717-545-7500. Come on through. Great atmosphere, dope cuts. So come on, swing on through.
Hell yeah.
In the area.
Most definitely. So we're going to start with a personal background. You were born and raised in Harrisburg, right?
Yep. Born and raised from Harrisburg all my life.
I gotcha.
Yep.
How would you describe your upbringing and then where you grew up?
Okay, so I'm originally from uptown Harrisburg. So my upbringing, we was disciplined, strict. I was raised by a mom who spoke her mind. My mom, she was a singer, R&B singer. My dad, he's a musician, which is from both of them is where I get my background from, as far as with music and stuff like that. So 3 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm the oldest out of the boys. And we didn't have a lot, but we always had good food and always had good discipline and was always taught to do the right thing.
At the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for in a way.
That's all you can ask for.
Because I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't grow up super rich or well off, but at the same time, always had clothes and food and stuff like that. Even if things weren't always going good, that's what I'm always grateful for. Because I know a lot of kids, you go to school with kids who you can tell really have it bad and stuff like that, and then you're like, even though I got certain things going on, it could be worse.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of stuff we were talking about in the interview with Trey Cheney, and you were, kind of speaking your mind on those sort of things. Having gratitude is your attitude, stuff like that.
Yeah. I've learned in life, no matter what, you definitely have to be grateful for anything, for waking up. So every day, I try to wake up with a positive mindset. Even though there's always things that get us down, but it's so important to have a mindset of being grateful for the things, whether they're small or big. And, when the big things do come, it allows you to appreciate it more and to take care of it and to make sure you move the right way with the bigger things.
Definitely. So you already started to talk about how your mother and father, they inspired you to make music and stuff like that. Do you want to go a little bit deeper into what they were doing as far as music?
Okay, so my mom, when she was younger, she toured Europe.
Oh.
And so she played in a band. She sang in the band. So, growing up, she would sing rehearsals in the house, and I would hear her sing, and she always was playing, older music, soul music, R&B music. She also liked hip-hop, too. And my dad, he had all different types of variety of music tastes. He's a keyboard player, guitar, and a bass player. So growing up, all those different influences were around me. So it was never just something I woke up and said, you know what, this is what I want to do. It was just always something that was always around. So, I would sneak off to the side and, play my father's keyboard and messing around with equipment. Got in trouble so many times.
He didn't like you touching it?
But
how young were you when you were doing that?
Oh my God. I think I would say 7 years old.
Oh, I gotcha.
Right. So, wasn't quite mature yet to be able to know how to take care of things. But, so through the years, listening to music and having that positive influence around me, inspired me to do it more. And, I say like in my later teens, I kind of drifted away from it. You know, trying to find my, you know, we all try to find our places where we belong and working and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then, you know, recently within the past, I say the past 3 years, um, I picked it back up. It was never something that was lost because it was always inside of me.
Right.
I believe when we're blessed with those gifts that's inside of us, it never leaves you, but it can sit dormant when you're not working on it and exercising it. Um, so I always knew that it was something I wanted to do, and then 3 years ago, um, I just started doing it again. You know, I hooked up with Trey,
Yeah.
and that's my brother, man. I really I genuinely love Trey. Um, he's definitely been a part of the inspiration that has inspired and influenced me to get back into those gifts and you know be creative and
We'll get into Trey a little bit early
yeah.
because I was gonna bring him up a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
later. But so how did you two meet exactly? And for the people listening, we're talking about Trey Chaney. He was an actor on The Wire. Um, like I said, he was on the channel before, so just watch the interview with that. But how did you two exactly like get to know each other and whatnot?
So it's it's kind of unique. I was actually watching Saints and Sinners,
Okay.
and I liked the acting in it, and I said, my man, you know, I like the character, I liked all the actors in it, and so I started following him on IG. You know how you see people when you follow them
Mm-hmm.
on IG, and you know one day something told me to reach out to him and ask him if he'd just do a shout out for the barbershop. And so I messaged him and told him who I was, told him what I stood for, told him what the barbershop stood for, and he messaged me back and we talked, set something up. He said what he was going to do. He came through. He did what he said he was going to do. Stuck to his word, and from there on, um, you know, our energies connected because you know, we were both on the same type of time with the positivity and the motivation and the inspiration thing. And so from there, Trey was like, man, well, I should come to the barbershop one day and we should do. And I said, you know what? Let me figure this out. So we ended up doing an anti-bullying event with one of my friends that is from where I live at, Marvin Red Cross. We did an anti-bullying event, and
I saw that it said on your IMDb when I was researching that you work within the community in the fight against bullying and that it's a cause near and dear to your heart.
yes.
So, kind of talk about why it's kind of so important to you.
So you know, growing up, I've seen so many different things, and as a man my age now, you know, I understand more obviously than what I did when I was younger.
Absolutely.
Um, so bullying is a thing that starts with kids that have something that they're internally fighting with. You know, it starts at home. You know, you never
Yep.
know what they're dealing with at home, and it starts with the role models that they have at home, teaching them things. You know, and you know, a lot of times it's stuff that they're fighting with. Uh, and as the barbershop tied into it, you know, sometimes the kids can't afford to go to school with haircuts and stuff like that, so they can be affected by stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. You know, when kids are less fortunate, they don't have certain clothes to wear and stuff
I
like
was just
that.
about to bring that up. Yeah, some
Yeah,
kids don't have clean clothes and stuff
right,
like that, and
right.
people, they make
Certain
jokes.
brand names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, um, I felt like it was a good idea to tie the barbershop into the community with that, since you know we play a critical role in making people feel good. So I feel like if you can make people feel good and give them something that they're happy, you know, to make them feel good, you know, and itself give them more confidence. Also, at the same time, giving them messages like, you know, on both parts, the kids that's being bullied and the kids that's doing that.
Right.
Because when you talk to a lot of them kids that's doing that, when you talk to them, a lot of them they just need somebody to talk to,
Oh yeah.
and they, so I try to use the platform that I have and having people come in there, the kids, especially, the youth. And, when I say youth, I'm talking about, anybody 20s, whatever, anything that's younger than what I am.
Right.
And, that I can reach and give a message. I feel like, that makes me feel good. And that's part of my calling to be able to talk and listen to people, inspire them to chase their dreams, which is what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here in front of you now.
Yeah, it's important I think it's important to try to motivate other people, because that's kind of like what I've been doing with this podcast, is getting together with the like-minded people.
Right.
And I think if we all motivate each other, then we can all we can all uprise at the same time and whatnot. And especially if we're all like connected in it together, I mean, it's like power in numbers kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yes, we can do more together than we can by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes the right people with the same attitudes and the same goals, trying to work towards the same thing. So, even in the barbershop, clients, the people that work around me, I like to keep the same kind of energy. We all gonna have our bad days, but I try.
Of course.
My atmosphere, I try to keep it with the same kind of energy. So when people come in there, even if they're having a bad day, when you come in there, maybe it can help turn your bad day into something positive.
Absolutely.
Because of the feeling that you get from the music to the conversations to just, having somebody listen to you.
Yeah, and there's just certain people that radiate that good energy. So like I work at a warehouse, and I go in at 7 in the morning, and there's this one dude who's on like the midnight shift.
Yeah.
Literally every time he passes everybody, he's like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" Dabbing everybody up, you know what I mean? So, and every time that, I'm usually pretty awake in the morning. I'm not all groggy, but of course you're walking into work, so it's like, you kind of like got your head down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then whenever that dude comes by and just starts dabbing people up, I'm like, all right,
It's good to have people around you like that, because it'll,
Yeah, man.
That's good.
So back onto the bullying thing, how do you think bullying has changed since you were younger, and especially with the new age of social media and stuff like that? Would you say that it's worse, or that it's kind of the same, just with a different, we get a new outlook on it?
I think bullying is the same. It's just more impactful, because nowadays, when I was coming up, we didn't have social media.
Right.
Where people are flashing things literally in your face. Everybody has their phone and they're looking on their phone. Teenagers and kids have their phones and they're looking. And I think that now I would say it's more of an influence for you to think that you have to have the newest of this and the newest of that, trying to be,
it's definitely
keeping up with the Joneses, so to say.
Yeah, that's kind of more. I feel it's probably always been like that, where there was always something that you had to have to be cool. But I feel like it's really, really gotten worse. You know what I mean? Because now, I mean, the market for brands and stuff like that, like Supreme, stuff like that, or even like Jordans. You know what I mean? I mean, I do empathize for like the parents and stuff like that, because I know what it's like to not be able to have like $200 shoes. You know what I mean? So, and do you think like that the school systems do like a good job at handling bully situations?
I think some try to do the best that they can.
Right.
I think that teachers and school staff can't come home with you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They're not gonna be with you every walk of the way from the bus stop to the home. So I think schools. There's always something more that we can do.
Yeah.
And better that we can do. Right. Everything is a work in progress. But I would say we have to give respect and credit to the people that do try to make it better. I know some
Yeah.
schools they have uniforms that so everybody's wearing the same thing. Certain dress codes. I know.
I never thought about dress codes being for that reason.
Yeah.
But that makes sense though.
Hmm.
Because that is true. You can't be like,
Yeah.
what are you wearing?
Yeah, because
Wearing
if
the
I'm in
same
if I'm
thing.
in school with you and if I got on a blue collar shirt,
Yeah.
and that's what you have on. But sometimes those schools that are doing that aren't the public schools. They're the
Oh no,
schools
they're
that are
private
right.
schools. Yeah.
So sometimes families can't afford to put their kids in a private schools and stuff like that. So I think it's a community thing. You know what I'm saying? And we
Yeah.
can't just everybody has to play their part. And I feel like no matter what you do when you come into interaction with youth or anybody, the best thing we can do is try to be a positive inspiration to anybody that we come in contact with. Because that's what we need, man. Like you said, when you go to work and that guy comes in there and he's high fiving you saying, "Hey,
Oh
what's
yeah.
up?" You know, that's some coffee. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
that can make you,
exactly.
that
It puts
right?
pep in your step, man.
Absolutely.
I do think that it is harder for the teachers and the principals and stuff like that, especially like that's where the social media thing comes in because
Right.
when there wasn't social media, unless they lived in your neighborhood and
Yeah.
was following you around, it kind of stopped once you were out of school.
Right.
But with social media now, it really doesn't stop. It's kind of almost
Constant.
24/7,
Right. Yeah.
unless you restrict it yourself where you like just don't look at it, which is like people sometimes think that's harsh, but that's kind of like what you have to do. You just have to
Right.
tell them like, well, don't look at it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
But it does still hurt. No one likes to have
No.
bad things said about them.
No. No.
But at the same time, you have to have some sort of, I guess, layer of skin where you just don't let it bother you.
You do. And but everybody's different. Everybody's
course.
different, and some people can't handle that. Some kids are more sensitive than other kids. You know what I mean? So, all you can do is try to like I said, when kids come in there, and I cut all different kinds of kids, and I can tell. You know what I mean? You could tell
Yeah.
because everybody has different personalities. So I try to I like to make the youth feel comfortable when they come in the barbershop. I don't want them to make them feel like they come into Sunday school where somebody's trying to say that, you know what I mean? So I talk to them, and I like to hear how their days is going and ask them. But and I have some where I ask them, how's school going? Are you going? Because education is definitely important. And
Yeah.
what your purpose is and stuff like that.
Everybody should be graduating high school
Right.
at the bare minimum. I mean,
Right.
and me and my friends last night were even talking about like, yeah, some of the stuff you're learning really might not be all that useful to what
Right.
you do later on in life, but it's just one of those things. What I was telling my friends is it really teaches you how to be around people and stuff like that.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
school does at a very young age. It kind of
Right.
just integrates you into
Working
society.
with different personalities and stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of gets you ready for the workforce in
Right.
that sense, but some people don't ever they don't ever make it through. So let me go back now. So like I just had what music did you grow up listening to? You talked about how you had a different variety of music, soul, stuff like that, hip hop. So just kind of talk about like who your favorites were growing up and then like what you've evolved into now as far as your taste in music.
Okay, so hip hop. I am I say artist wise, Nas is my number one. Okay, so
I'm in agreement with you there because
So-
like everybody is always asking Biggie, Tupac, and I said it on my channel before too. I was like Biggie, Tupac, Nas. That's my answer.
so I'm a big I love Biggie too.
Oh, of course, of course.
Pac, Jay-Z, Mob Deep, Wu Tang, the producers, RZA, Premier, and even going back further, Big L, Rakim, Coogee Rap. I can sit here and go down the line. And it's not even just hip hop. I'm a big R&B person too. I love R&B. Um, I grew up listening to Anita Baker, Sade, Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield.
Yep, yep.
Um, you know, so you pull up my playlist, you're gonna get it's. I play whatever makes me feel good. I love '80s music too, man. '80s
Definitely.
music, so
I think that's important because I think a lot of people they just have like a small window of
yeah,
music that they listen to, and that's not good for any aspect of life. You got to have an open mind about
got to
anything. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And it's like you're just missing out on all sorts of
Yeah,
good
yeah.
vibes. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you gotta be open to listening, to all kinds of music. You just never know what you might hear that might inspire you. I
Yeah.
listen to all kinds of music, man. I love music.
Yeah, that's the thing. Honestly, like I don't know if I could ever go without music. Like it's kind of crazy because like I could go without TV and movies and stuff like that, but like at the very least, you gotta have some music.
Gotta have some music.
It's essential. Um,
Music is everything,
absolutely.
literally.
Um, so being a native to Pennsylvania, this is just like out of curiosity. Did you go to like Amish markets growing up?
Hell yeah.
Dude, Amish markets are
Listen,
fire.
well, hold on a minute. So, um, you know, being from PA, I feel bad for people that don't know about Amish
Mm,
markets.
straight up.
Um, they got some of the best food. It's crazy.
I
They got
know.
some of the best food. There's a place called Shady Maple it's a town called Blue Ball. It's on the outside. I know it's funny. Funny word. And
You
it's
said
on.
blue ball.
It's called Blue Ball. Blue Ball.
That's funny. There's got to be a gas station that sells like funny T-shirts, right?
Listen, but the food
Oh.
is crazy though. It's crazy, and it's like good home cooked
Mm-hmm.
food type food. Oh my god, that makes me think about my mom. She was like, she was known for cooking,
Right.
singing, cooking, and her telling you how she felt. She had no filter on her mouth. Uh, Whenever I think of good food, I think about my mom. But yeah,
Absolutely. I think everyone has mom's dishes that are just like essential. You know what I mean? And even like grandmas and stuff like that. Cause my grandma in Colorado, like her breakfasts
yeah,
are like,
crazy.
yeah, it's just like it's a typical breakfast, but it's just got the grandma's touch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Yeah, my grandma, she could throw down too.
yeah,
Throw down too.
a lot of my family out there loves cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I was watching. You were on ABC News in 2019 for your barbershop,
Yeah.
and apparently you had an experience at the barbershop when you were a teenager that had a great effect on you.
Well, I would say that at the barber shop, the 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 biggest effect I've had in the barber shop growing up was watching the barbers cut when I would go to the barber shop. And it always made me want to learn how to cut hair and perfect it. Um, I was always cutting hair at a young age because and I started on myself. I used to tear my head up. Um,
I was just
I
gonna
used to
ask
tear my
that.
head
Yeah,
up.
if you cut your own hair and stuff.
But I was the kid that got into the cabinet with the Bic razor and I don't know why the hell I thought I could fade my hair with the Bic razor. Can't fade with no Bic razor.
Oh man.
Some people can though. That's the penitentiary stuff.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah. I wasn't. It wasn't no young age. I wasn't. It wasn't from that. I was just trying to learn. But growing up in the barbershops, through the years growing up in the barbershops, just I was inspired by how they could do what they did, you know what I mean, and make it look good. And I wanted to be neat, and I wanted my work to be where when somebody looked at it, they'd be like, "Damn, who did that?" You know, um, and that's what I wanted to do. So I just kept doing it until I finally got it. And I'm still, it's everything. You can't never be the best at something. You're always learning how to do it better. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That's
Absolutely.
my attitude. Even though I've been cutting hair for over 20 something years, I don't never have the attitude to think that I can't learn anything from somebody else. You know
There's
what I'm
always new
saying?
styles that are evolving too, and that's kind of
Always,
with anything. There's new trends that you always got to kind of
always,
keep up with and stuff like that.
always.
One of the trends, right, that I kind of wanted your opinion on. Are
Uh huh.
you aware of the Edgar haircut?
Man, you gotta show me a picture of that.
All right, you've seen this haircut before. It's kind
So
of a
like
Hispanic thing.
what's that? Some mullet type?
Not really. It's more of like a bowl cut kind of
Oh,
shit. So, like, what's funny is like it's legit like a big Hispanic haircut. Um, me personally, I'm not a fan of this look. Um,
that,
so it's kind of like stuff like this.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
You know,
Was you think you was? What's crazy? I was gonna
some
bring.
of these look good,
I was
but
supposed to bring my clippers down and cut your hair too. Next time.
oh yeah, nah, no worries, dude.
Was that what you was going to have me do?
Huh?
That's what you was
Oh
going to
no,
have.
no,
Oh, okay.
no, no,
All right.
absolutely not. I was just kind of curious. I didn't know if you were familiar with this kind of style of hair. That's what it usually tends to look like.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
These
yeah.
pictures kind of make it look sharp, but there's memes about this style of haircut. It's kind of funny.
I think I would have probably put a guard on it and kind of like smoothed it down a little bit, so it just didn't, you know,
Yeah,
look like a
you know,
bull.
Foo's Gone Wild.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of memes about that.
Yeah, yeah. I like to have it where it's like, you know, don't look like a bull.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as like learning how to cut hair, you try it on yourself. Did you go to like any school to get taught or anything like
Yeah, I
that?
went to a school called BSI Barber Styling Institute,
Okay,
and that's in Camp Hill in PA.
okay.
And so I went there, and before that I was doing warehouse work, and I had injured my wrist.
Mm.
I had two surgeries on my wrist. I tore my tendon, and this was '06, 2006, and so while being off, I said, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of the time in a good way and go to barber school.
Mm.
So went to barber school, got the training I needed to get, and you know,
How long did that take?
barber school was 9 months.
Okay.
It was 9 months. Man, I had to think for a little bit. I said, damn, time goes fast.
That's
That
a
was
pretty good amount of
yeah.
time though, man.
So, um, one of the best things I've ever did ever in my life, which you know, and it's just like that's why I'm so big on people. Like if what's your passion? Finding your purpose and just doing it and sticking with it
I'll-
because you just never know. You just never
Absolutely.
know. Never know.
I was gonna say earlier when you were talking about how you always you got back into producing recently, but it never left.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you haven't started your passion yet, once you do actually start what is your passion, like it'll just ignite
Right.
and you'll be doing it naturally.
Yeah, because
You
it's
know.
something you love to do. It's something inside of you. Even with the barbering thing, when people come to me, if somebody wants to come and they want to work in the shop, they say, "Oh, I want to cut hair," and my first question is, "Why?" As soon as they say, "Well, I can make some quick money." All right, so no, no, because it's not. Yeah, you can make money, but it's going to take time and it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to do it, if you don't have a passion and you don't have a love to learn how to do it and to be better at it and to learn the craft so you can bring the people to you, what about the days where you don't make money? Because you ain't going to make the same amount of money every day.
Oh yeah.
You ain't.
A lot of times you're not even gonna be making money, and it depends on what you do. But like this, I ain't gonna be making money for a long time, but I still know that I just gotta stick with it.
Right. And it's not every blessing is not in the form of money.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? And to get somewhere, you have to start. So if you don't start, how will you ever know or get to where you're trying to get to? You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it so much in my life at this age. Everything, everything that I do, everybody that I'm connected to, there's a reason for this.
Mhm.
There's a reason I'm here. We gonna do bigger stuff than this. One
Absolutely,
day we
man.
gonna be, it's bigger than this. Everything has there's steps, but every step is leading to something higher. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm
This is
saying?
stuff
So
I have in my head all day. I brought this up on my last podcast because right here, these two guys shout. I'm gonna shout them out because
okay,
Good Time Health. They
word,
make Earth coffee. So what they
okay,
do is they blend coffee beans and tea and stuff like that with
uh,
like cordyceps, reishi, and
oh
lion's mane
wow,
mushrooms for the health benefits and stuff
okay,
like that.
dope,
So, but we were talking about that and just how you gotta have the mindset of like I'm going to make it,
right,
like and it's got to be like ingrained in your subconscious.
right,
I was gonna bring this up a little bit later, but you do a lot of motivational posts on
yes,
Instagram and stuff like
yes.
that. And I wanted to just talk about like how important to you is like self affirmations and just not saying things to talk down on yourself.
I'm gonna tell you something. Um, I wish I would have knew this when I was younger, um, but I learned it when I went to acting school. Um, my teacher Bernard Glinkowski, um, he was so he was so into teaching his students the importance of affirmation,
Mm.
manifestation, and believing in yourself that it just like stuck in me to the point where, in the morning time when I get up, I speak. I speak it. When I take my shower in the morning, I speak it. I am an amazing music producer. I am an amazing actor. I am an amazing person. You know what I mean? And it's so important because the things that I believe when you speak things,
Mhm.
you put them in the atmosphere, you put them in the universe, and
Absolutely.
what you speak. That's why if you speak negative, you got to be careful. That's
Mhm.
serious.
Mhm.
Things that you say out your mouth is so serious because
A lot
what
of
you
people
speak.
have talked about how like rappers have talked about dying in their lyrics and stuff like that, and then they end up dying, and then people kind of get all conspiracy with it, but really I have a note right here: your words have more power than you know. So
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
mm,
Life and death.
absolutely. And I like what you said about waking up in the morning and immediately saying those things. I kind of do the same thing, but more or less like I was driving to my friend's house yesterday to celebrate their birthday, and on the way I'm just driving and I'm just saying I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be something big. Like
Right. Right.
you just got to put that out there,
Speak
cuz
it.
yeah,
That's
and
right.
it feels good when you continue to do it, and if you just stick to it, you really start to see the progress. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And it's like you said earlier, it's not always about money. And the same way that I look back on the conversations that I've had and I
Right.
appreciate all the discussions and just like the knowledge that I get and everything like that, I'm sure it's exactly the same way with the
Right.
barbershop.
Right.
The conversations that you have with the people in the chair and stuff like that.
Man, it gets deep, and it's like I'm surprised they don't make barbers take a psychology class, and because it's almost like you know we're just not people that cut your hair. We're people that talk to you,
Mhm.
and we can positively influence. I'm even going to go a little bit deeper into it. So um, I never realized how deep a relationship is with a barber and his client until one of my friends, his father had cancer.
Mm.
Okay, and I used to cut his hair while he had cancer. I cut his hair, and I would go to the house and cut his hair, and you know, um, we would have conversations, and we would talk. and I would tell him stuff and ask him for advice, and he would tell me stuff, and he never complained, and I think that was something that taught me something too. Seeing him deal with that and seeing him never complain while he was sitting there going through what he was going through made me look at things and be like, well, damn, how can I complain about things that I can change
Right.
when people got things that they can't change and can be strong enough to not complain about that?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's really easy to go out into the world and just see examples almost anywhere of people who have it worse than you, you know? Even around here, you can stumble upon someone that's homeless, you know what I mean? Or someone that's addicted to drugs, you know what I mean? And people, you see people that are like sitting outside on the benches in the cold and stuff like that, and it's just
Right.
anytime you see that, it just gives you perspective, or it should give you perspective. People tend to judge people that are in lesser situations than them, but they don't realize how close they could be
Right.
to being in their place.
Right. So he passed away, and when he passed away, before he told him, he said, I want Todd to cut my hair. Now, I had never did that before. I
Right.
thought about it, but I had never done that before. And so when he asked me to do it, I knew I wasn't going to say no. I wasn't going to say no.
Right.
Because I felt like at that point in time, I felt like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this, and this is what I'm supposed to do. Right? So I don't question things anymore. When I'm put in situations where I got to do something that I might be like, damn, I don't really want to do that. I know that my path right now, because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, everything that's happening is happening for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel like God in the universe is not gonna put me in a position where I'm faced to do something that I'm not able to accomplish or do. You know what I'm saying? And so I did it, and you know, it was different. It's not the same as cutting somebody who's alive. It's
Right.
just not the same. It's different. But during when I was doing that, I was like, man, I realized that the connection between this person that once was in this body was deeper than I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Like it's deep. Like the relationships when it's life is deep. That's why like I'm so big on what I put myself around and who I connect myself with through energy. That's so important. Paying attention to who people's energies and stuff like that, because your energies connect to the people that you put yourself around. So on this path that I'm on right now, I make it a point. If I feel any type of negative energy, anything that's not, we ain't gotta be. I ain't perfect. I am not perfect.
As is no one. I most certainly am not.
But but I don't walk around with negative energy
You
though.
just cut it off immediately.
I don't walk around with negative energy.
I feel that.
I don't like, you know, I'm always glad to see somebody make it. I'm always glad to see somebody have something, and I like seeing people win. Even as a little boy, when I seen somebody with a nice whatever, I liked it. I didn't
Right.
look at them and be like, oh, nah, that's dope. So
Like you admire it, and that's
Right.
some people don't have not the guts, but they just don't want to admit that that's what they want, and they
Right.
just don't have it. And
Right.
instead of having the mindset of, like you said, and complaining and
Right.
loathing and disliking that person,
Right.
like you got to get that should be your motivation, to go and get it.
Listen.
You know what I mean?
Look what you're doing. You got this podcast here. So you went out, you did the research to do what you got to do. So if somebody wants to learn off of you, hey man, can you tell me about that? I want to do that, or try to learn off of you versus sitting there putting their nose up, because what you're doing is a positive thing.
Absolutely.
If you keep doing it,
Thank you.
nothing's going to come out of it but something good,
Right.
because you're doing something that's good.
I've already seen pretty, like I said, I look back on conversations and relationships that I've built,
Yeah.
and when I go back and I look at how many people I've been able to like kind of bring together on the same note, it's a great thing. And I look forward to like getting more and more done. This year I'm trying to get to 100 done this year. I got like 10 done last year, so I'm trying to like do it 10 times bigger. But I'm trying to unify everybody together because we were already talking about how we can all get together on that same note.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's what it's about. It's like you said, you know, I look at it like it's like chess, right? So it's like your pieces, all your pieces on the board. You choose the pieces that you playing chess with, right? And you need to get all the pieces together. You can't have no pieces that's against what you're trying to do. They all got to be moving in the same
Right.
direction, or they're playing against you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's the energy. All the energy that you connect yourself with has to be able to understand the vision. It's vision, right? That's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a vision, you need to have, first off, you got to know what you want to do, and then you align yourself with the things. And when you align yourself with your vision and you moving in your purpose, God in the universe is going to put them chess pieces that you need to have around you to move in that same direction.
Yes. Steve Harvey has a good quote where he said, "There's a reason that you see these things in your head. There's a reason you see yourself driving a nice car. There's a reason you see yourself successful." And he said, "Because God is showing you what He's got for you, but He's not just gonna give it to you. He's showing you what is
No.
possible,
No.
you know." And there's just so many sayings where it's like on your deathbed, you're not gonna be thinking about what you tried. You're gonna
Right.
be thinking about what you didn't do,
Right.
So
Right.
I think people really got to start thinking about what they want to do in life and
Right.
just taking a shot at it.
Yeah,
You
that's what
know,
you got to do.
that's a lot about what like the Robert Greene, who did like the 48 Laws of Power and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I was reading the Daily Laws, and they talk about how you got to find your purpose and your
Got
passion,
to.
and you just got to start,
You got to.
because that's really like how you're gonna get happiness out of life. You know what I mean? It's We live in a society where you got to work jobs that you don't want to work to be able to have a living and stuff
Right.
like that. But guess what? If you don't hone in on that craft that you want to do, then you're
Right.
never gonna have a chance to get out of the job
Right.
that you don't want to do.
Man, yo, this is powerful. So look, like what you just said, people come to me, they like, we talk about the purpose and stuff, and they're like, and I'm like, well, what do you want? They say, well, I want freedom. Everybody wants freedom. I want a
Right.
job where I can do whatever I want to do and come and go as I want. I'm like, okay, so you got to do something different to get something different.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to do what we got to do to get to the next level. But there's a reason for that. So you can appreciate when you do get to the next level where you've been, and you can take care of it.
I think a lot of people are afraid of the work that's involved with obtaining any sort of success, because that's the thing. No matter what you're gonna do, like, it's not just gonna be like work whenever you want. It's
Right. Still got to put that work into it. You got to grind.
I want this to become my job one
Yeah.
day, but that doesn't mean I get to just lounge around. Like, there's
Right.
research that goes into it, and then once I actually record them, I listen back. I do
Right.
timestamps. Every now and then I have to edit things.
Right.
So, like, the work's always there. It's just something that I enjoy doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it doesn't feel like as much work.
But you take the job that you got that you're doing, and you take that money and you invest into what you're trying to do
Mm-hmm.
to create. You got to create that. You can't just say I want freedom, right? Because no matter what you do, you still going to have to put the work into it. Even when
Yeah.
you get that, actually having more freedom means you need more discipline, right?
Yeah,
So all that's
discipline's
doing
huge.
is all you doing is by doing that with that discipline is you shaping yourself to be able to handle what's next.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have your own business and you ain't got discipline to get up every day and you think that you just want to sit around, guess what? That business ain't gonna work.
No.
It's not. Where's the muscle at? You gotta be the muscle. You gotta be the V12 in that business, because if not, where's it gonna go?
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that there's people out there that will help you, but they're not going to come to you. You got to kind of, you have to
Put the
build
work
your
in.
way up
Right.
to, because I was going to bring this up earlier as well. You talked about how you were on Trey's Instagram
Right.
when you followed him and stuff like
Right.
that, and then something told you to just reach out. That was like the
Right.
same thing with me. I followed him on Instagram. I'd like just finished The Wire,
Yeah.
and I'd really just started this podcast, and I was like, that would be huge to get anybody from that show on here,
Right.
because I'm
Right.
doing a whole Maryland podcast.
Dope.
So I was like, something told me to just reach out, and same thing, got back with me.
Right.
We worked something out,
Right.
and from that, I met you.
Yep.
But guess what? This wouldn't be happening. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't just take that step.
Right. And that's how it happens. It's the it's the ladder of success by making the steps to work towards getting to the top. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you know, and it's just like I said, it just people can't motivation and inspiration is the start of it, but doing the work is something that you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Can't nobody say here. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the work. You got to
Yeah.
do the work.
And
You have to.
the people
Just
don't
have to.
realize that there's stuff you don't want to do. I was telling you before the podcast started, I was celebrating my two friends' 21st birthday last night. We were up till probably like 3:30 in the morning easily. I still got up at 8 in the morning, got up, got my shit, headed to town, had breakfast, came here, cleaned up, showered,
Right.
all that.
Right.
Cuz I still got to do it,
Still gotta do it.
Ain't nobody want to go and do all that after
Right.
after
Yeah.
after a good night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you just stay up till 3 watching TV,
Hell
like the
yeah.
next day you ain't trying to go to work at 8, but you got to, you
Got
know.
to. It's a grind, and it's you are the only one that knows what your vision is.
Mhm.
So you got to get up and make it happen. Even with the acting thing, it's like, um, you know, acting to me, I've always wanted to do it. You know what I mean? But nobody said here. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's like I had to go, finding certain classes so I can learn and it's a learning. It's a work in progress. You know what I mean? Because acting is not just getting in front of a camera and trying to have a certain look. I mean, acting is a craft.
Right.
Memorizing, learning how to deliver, it's so many different things to it. Um, so I had to be the one. I put myself in school so I can learn.
Mhm.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to keep going. You're not going to get every role you go for because you got to understand that. You gotta take the nose and you can't give up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not gonna give up. But when you're hungry for it, you're gonna keep gonna keep striving to
Exactly.
get that. You know what I'm saying? So
Cuz it's almost like cuz I know like I tell my friends this, like, the place I work at's a good job. I won't talk down on the company or anything like that because they got good benefits. I get paid pretty good. It could be a lot worse. But however, I'm not trying to be there in 10 years.
Right.
It honestly, it shakes me to my core that that I almost am stuck. You know what I mean? I know that I'm going to get out of there, and I know that this will take me somewhere, but that's the hard part is being in the growing stage because
you're not gonna be there forever.
I know that. Yeah,
It's a process.
but people have to have that in them. They have
Yeah.
to, a lot of people get too complacent, you know what I mean? And they make excuses as
Right.
to why that they stay in the positions
Right.
they are, but
Well,
in reality you will never outgrow your situation if deep down you go I cannot do this. There's no way. Like it goes
Well,
against what
I'll
you
tell you, comfortability is one of the worst drugs because when you get too comfortable, that means you ain't going nowhere,
right.
right? So, I don't mind, and people, when they say, "Oh, I'm nervous," I couldn't do that because it makes me nervous, and it's like, like I told my son, he's going to firefighter school. And he's like, Dad, he's like, I'm a little nervous. And I said, that's okay, son. I said, that's good.
Yeah.
That means you're doing what you should be doing because I never did anything that led to something bigger where I wasn't nervous when I was doing it.
Right, right.
So now I like, nervousness, don't let it scare you. Let it know that you're only nervous because you want to do the best that you want to do because you know what you want.
Right.
And you know there's more coming.
And yeah, you know what's on the line
Right.
if you make it,
Right.
know. I like that. So you started to talk about acting, which we're about to get into. I do want to finish up on a couple notes about being a barber and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So who were like your OGs as far as haircutters go? You had barbers around you that you respected and admired and stuff from what I heard.
Okay, so Wolf Doctor, Frank Morris, Harrisburg, well-known barber. He cut my hair when I was a young kid. He even used to cut my mom's hair when she used to wear it short in the back. And he was one of the people that when I was growing up that inspired me to want to learn it and get to the point where, people would be like, yeah, that's who did that. And when he does that, that's what it comes out looking like, So he definitely was someone that inspired me. It's a guy named Danny Elliott, uptown Harrisburg. He used to cut my hair when I was a little boy. He was another barber that was up there. Um, Cut. It's a guy named Cut that used to cut my hair.
Perfect.
He was dope, man. Them dudes back in the day, man, they would just their hands when they would touch a haircut. You know what I'm saying? You knew that you was getting something that was good, and they inspired me and made me want to be like that too. You know what I mean? Like I wanted my work to be known for that as well too. And not only with that, I also wanted to have a barbershop where the atmosphere was positive, where when you came in, there was music that was playing that made you feel good. And there wasn't a whole bunch of people talking about stuff that you didn't want your kids to hear, stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, in a barbershop, you're going to talk about what you talk about,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a time and place for that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like having a barbershop and showing people that you respect people when they come in there, you respect the elder people, you respect the kids when they come in there, you care about what they're hearing and what they're listening to.
Absolutely.
I think that sets a bar.
It does.
Right? It sets a bar, and it puts you, it gets you respect. Now you're gonna have people that, hey, they might not want to come there because of that. Because you got some people that when they go into places, they want to just do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come in a True Legends barbershop, it's respectful. We respect each other. All of us, we have our disagreements and our debates, of course. It ain't no barbershop without that.
Right.
But it's all respect and all love. Even with the clients, when they come in there, they know. There's a few new people that come in there when they come in there, and then, they fall right into the right seat, though.
Yeah.
With being in there within minutes because they feel the vibe and the energy. And, that's the type of place that I like. I like people
Absolutely.
to feel comfortable. I want people to know that when they come into my shop, you're not only getting a good haircut, you're also in an atmosphere where you don't have to worry about what your kid is listening to or hearing. You know what I mean? And you ain't got somebody talking crazy over you about things. When people come into the shop, most of the people, they want to relax. These
Mm-hmm.
people have been working all day. They stressing. We all got stuff we dealing with.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, when I see people fall asleep in a barber chair, I'm like, yeah, if they ain't having a conversation and you feel comfortable enough where you can fall asleep in a barber chair, that means that something is happening that's right because you feel comfortable enough where you sleeping in a barber chair.
That's very similar to me in the cigar lounge that I go to, right up on Main Street here in Westminster. I go there frequently, and it's the exact same environment where It's a place where you can just go to relax at the end of a long day, and that's exactly what you see. I watched a guy come in, light a cigar, and just immediately fell asleep. I'm just sitting there looking at him. I'm like, that man needs his rest.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, there's a reason he came here. He came here to just let off some steam.
Relax.
And yeah, exactly. And if that's where it leads, and it's like you said, he feels that comfortable there to just fall asleep and stuff like that. And I think everybody needs to kind of find something in their area
Right.
where they can go and be amongst like-minded people, because it's kind of the same thing at the cigar lounge. We have, not everybody agrees on the same thing politically, whatnot, but we always keep it civil.
Yeah.
And there's just an energy when you go in there that it's like it's all welcoming, kind of like concerts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great to have environments like that for sure.
And that's the type of, when you go into places and you're around, people, that's the kind of places you want to be around. You don't want to be around, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here. You know what I mean? So it's good to be around when you do go out, that you put yourself in places where, it's cool.
Absolutely.
Nothing's perfect, but and me, I can't be around a whole bunch of crazy stuff, man. I can't. You know what I mean? I gotta, and then when I'm doing my work, cutting hair is a art. So I gotta be around good energy.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Like you can't. It would almost be like two people arguing when you're trying to paint. It's like you got
you're gonna see it. You're gonna be like, damn, he's painting and got on all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's with anything with this. Like I couldn't have people here if I knew they were gonna argue and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, nah, hell no.
That's what I'm saying.
We ain't doing that.
No, respectfully. Like I can deal with all that in our own time, but not in a professional environment and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people have to learn that when you go to certain places, like you just gotta act a certain way. You gotta be respectful to everybody, and that means like, not making a fool of yourself. You know what I mean? Not making yourself seem ignorant or just, quick to argue and stuff like that. And that's one of the things we talked about at the lounge was like, we here can have a open discussion on different ends of issues, right? And that's something that we are losing in society, the ability to like come together and have common ground, or just to hear people out nowadays. I feel like we don't do enough of that. And you were talking about like kind of respect and stuff like that. Do you feel like a lot of the newer generation has like lost respect?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that
people stop spanking their kids.
Yeah, I think we just that's what it is. So I just feel like it's important to understand that everybody's different, and that's okay. I think that when it gets bad is when it becomes disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
You may not agree with everything I say. I may not agree with everything you say. We might not have whatever, but at the end of the day, you still a man. I'm still gonna respect you, and I think that a lot of people have a lot of pride, and they kind of like a lot of people feel like they always have to be right about everything.
Ego is the enemy. That's the name of a book
Yes.
by Ryan Holiday. He's got a bunch of good books and stuff like that. He like about
check that out.
you into like stoicism and stuff like that?
Well, I just like anything that speaks on self-knowledge and things that can teach you how to be better.
Right.
I'm with. Like I said earlier, none of us are perfect. But I feel like communicating effectively, even tone of voice when you talk to people is so important.
Absolutely.
There's things you can say to get your point across without being disrespectful. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we all a work in progress. I'm still learning. I'm still learning because I'm very outspoken. I'm very outspoken, and growing up, my mom, she was outspoken. She always said what was on her mind. And
Right.
I do too. I like to say what's on my mind, but um, as I as I as I mature more and grow more as a person, um, I'm finding out that people listen to you more when you smile,
Right.
when you talk in a certain tone,
Talk with confidence.
right? And when you talk in a certain tone, you don't have to yell at people when you're talking to them.
No.
You just don't. You know, and you
And
get a lot further with
yeah,
that.
honesty is a big part of that too, because there's a vibe that comes with honesty, and then there's a vibe that
Absolutely.
comes with clear, blatant lying, or just
Right.
like having too much ego.
Right.
Confidence is good. Like if you're going up to someone introducing your brand, like you want to be pep, you want to have some pep in your step,
Absolutely.
you want to be confident.
Because if you don't believe in yourself, ain't nobody gonna believe in you.
Absolutely. A lot of people think it's people being cocky, but
Right.
it's really like they're just manifesting and
Right.
self-affirming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because what are they going to do? Not say they're the best? You know what I mean? Like there's people that kind of point out like if a rapper says like, "Oh, I'm the best." Well, it's like, yeah, like but why wouldn't he have that mindset? You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody can be the best at
I
their
ain't
own,
mad at
you
you.
know? Yeah,
Speak it. You know what I mean?
absolutely. So I wanted to talk about just as a man, the importance of keeping like nice groomed hair. You know what I mean?
I think it's very important. You know, sheesh, growing up, okay, my mom, she was always big on keeping yourself self-groomed.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
you know, taking care of your hair, your nails. Um,
Just
she was,
showering,
she
stuff
yeah,
like that.
clean. I'm big. I like cologne. I like smelling good. I like
Absolutely.
smelling good.
Yep.
Um, uh,
What's so
you
it's
know,
what's funny is I had a lady at work,
uh,
much older lady,
uh
like
oh,
so.
uh oh,
But no, she came up to me and said, "Yo, your parents must have raised you right." And I'm like, it was like that was all she said, so I was a little caught off guard. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
thank you, but what do you mean? She said, well, you always have your hair combed.
yeah,
I can see, you're dressed right. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I was like, wow, people
right,
tend to notice. And I've always been into like
right,
colognes and stuff too. But for a while, it's easy for people to say like, oh, I work in a warehouse. Why am I
right.
gonna wear cologne? But
So
when I
what?
started wearing cologne,
Yeah.
like people were complimenting me.
You probably making the other men are probably like, you know what?
I had one of my group
Yeah,
leaders come up to me. He said, "Man, that smells good. What
yeah,
is that?" Shout out Yves Saint Laurent.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That
one of
is
the best
some good
colognes
stuff.
out there.
That is. That's some good stuff.
But I feel for people, because cologne's pricey, especially some good
It is.
cologne. But
It
I
is.
encourage all men to own some cologne.
Hell yeah.
You can even go to like Ross and TJ Maxx. They got discounted designer colognes and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And it's just
Oh yeah.
trust me when I say people notice when you take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because you know it's not about being better than somebody.
No.
It's about loving. It's really about loving yourself. Because when you take care of yourself and you show people, you know, when you are a grown man, you know, and you're old enough to be able to go and buy those things because
Mm.
everybody can't afford
No.
top colognes and
And as
this and
well as
that.
like I'm not gonna give my 12-year-old some Dolce and Gabbana.
They don't.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
You
yeah.
start off with the Old Spice, shit like that. But once my kid hits high school, I'm gonna take him out and get him some nice cologne, probably.
Right. It just taking care of yourself. It makes you feel good about yourself.
Definitely.
Um, and it tells people that you care about yourself. How
Mhm.
and it just helps overall with your confidence as a person, and you know, so yeah, self grooming. Come at you later in the barbershop.
I feel like it's a huge. There's a stigma and misconceptions, for men that it's like it's macho to not like, not to be dirty, but like,
Yeah,
some dudes will, be like that's gay,
right,
or that's feminine to, wash your face with skincare products and,
Nah,
have your nails kept and clean, getting
listen,
manicures and stuff. Opposite gender
you know,
loves that.
look, no matter who you are, what you are, ain't nothing wrong with loving yourself and taking care of yourself. You should. 'Cause you
Absolutely.
can't, you should. It's your life. You should take care of yourself. You only, take care of yourself. You have to, and it all goes along with, also getting rest and stuff like that. It's not always about
Eating healthy, drinking
working, working,
water.
working, working, working. I know we all got to work, but you also got to make sure you get your rest,
Yeah.
drink water, and try to eat. I love food. But you got to try to. I'm try to eat is good.
Yeah.
I
My
don't
whole
go over the limit, but
Yeah, I've talked about it on my podcast already, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but at a warehouse you see a lot of people eating unhealthy, but then they complain about how they feel.
yeah.
A lot of people just don't realize like how your lifestyle is has a lot to do with your mental health.
Oh man.
A lot of people are neglecting themselves and then wondering why they feel like crap all the time.
Right. Yeah. You know what you put in you is gonna
Yeah,
affect how you perform. Through your mental. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
rest, water, all good stuff.
Yeah.
And who you put around you, energy.
Yeah.
Bad energy is bad for your diet too.
Yeah, bad energy's everywhere too. It can be hard to escape. And I like that you mentioned diet because there's a saying where, diet is not just what you consume as far as what you eat, it's what you consume as far as what you watch, what you
Man,
listen to, all of
that's
that.
I'm on a bad energy diet.
I like that.
I'm on a bad energy diet right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's important because people that aren't on your wave can really bring you down, and it's might not be in ways that you think. People think that's like automatically just some huge negative event. Like, no, what it is if you continue to hang around these people, you're going to start falling into vices and stuff like that,
Yeah.
things that really, take time away from what you're really supposed to be doing and stuff like that.
Right.
So people got to realize where those small vices and, small bad energies are.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Chess pieces, man. You got to make sure, like I said, what you putting yourself around is it's important. It's critical, especially when you're on a mission and doing what you're doing what I do. If you're anybody, whoever you are, whatever your dreams are and whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's critical to diet away from anything that's not good for you.
Absolutely. So, how often do you think guys should be getting their hair cut depending on what style that they do?
Depending on how fast your hair grows. Some people come. I got people that come every week. I got people that come every other week.
Right.
This depends on how fast your hair grows and what kind of hairstyle you're wearing. Some people wear a bald fade or a low haircut that might grow back in a week or so. Shit, come to me every other day.
What are some of the more common haircuts that you do? Like just styles and whatnot?
Usually, I do a lot of fades, bald fades, shadow fades. Some people get all even, temp fades, blowouts. Cut with shears. So I do it all, man. Whatever somebody wants. All hair types. My clientele. I cut black, white, mixed, Puerto Rican, Spanish. All anything. Asian, Indian. And everybody's taste is different. If somebody comes to me and they ask me what do I recommend them to get, I base it on different head shapes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard that if you're really I've heard that you should ask your barber to kind of ask for their advice to see what haircut fits your facial structure and whatnot.
Right.
Because, and this is my whole thing about haircuts being important and stuff. Like, I think your hair has a lot to do with how you look. Like, your outfit could be kind of off point.
Oh, yeah.
But if your hair's looking sharp,
Yeah.
And you
Absolutely.
got some clean, and it's not even about what you're wearing. It's just kind of like like fit over fashion. You know, you don't got to be wearing like really expensive stuff, but make sure your clothes fit you. You know, make sure they're flattering to how
Right.
you
Yeah, yeah,
your
yeah.
build and
Fits you.
whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
So you were talking, you know, you use shears, stuff like that. What equipment do you have? You know, like what's
Oh
your
man,
setup?
right now I use Babyliss and Wall. That's I use Andis too. Andis, Babyliss, and Wall um, are my three main go tos right now for clippers.
Okay.
You know, I like cordless clippers, and I think Wall and Babyliss have some of the best cordless clippers because they're powerful, even when they're not plugged into the cord. So those is my go-to tools that I use right now.
Okay.
Brand wise.
Did it take you a while and experimenting with all sorts of different kinds to really figure out what you liked?
Well, through the years, back when I first started cutting, shit, back in the day, I was using things Sunbeam and Oster, the first ones that weren't even adjustable. You know, that was like kitchen cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, is that where you started before you opened a barbershop? Were you cutting people's hair, like, at your house and
God,
stuff?
I was in the basement, in the kitchen, on the porch, anywhere I could find an outlet at.
Right.
Anywhere I could find an outlet. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, now you said that you do take people in if they want to, if they're serious about learning how to cut hair.
Yeah. If somebody is serious and that's really what they want to do, I love to show people how to do that. I think that I'm supposed to.
Right.
I think we're supposed to share our trades and what we know how to do. Um, I just don't want somebody wasting my time. So, like I said,
Of course.
if somebody comes to me and they tell me that they want to cut hair, and I say why, and they tell me because they want to make money, that's to me that's not enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wanting to do anything just to make money to me is not enough to because what about when you don't?
Right.
Are you going to put that same motivation into wanting to learn how to do it when you don't? Because it's always a learning. It's always a learning constant.
Right.
You know.
There's two goals I have with this podcast that isn't money. One is to like uplift and promote and get
Absolutely.
Maryland bands, Maryland artists,
Yeah.
everything to a bigger level. Like I'm gonna be no jumper for the East Coast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be the one that's getting underground artists and stuff like that. Like I would love to be able to help and have a say, and not have a say in who gets big, but like if there's someone that I see that has the potential, I'd love to have the ability to bring them to a spotlight.
Dope.
And then also just my to be able to do for other people what podcasts do for me. Um, One of the people I interviewed, his name is Sharm. He's a guitarist for some of the local hardcore bands and stuff like that. He told me that he listens to my podcast at work to get through work, and that meant a lot to me
Wow.
because I did the same thing for a year straight, listening with an AirPod in.
Yeah.
Podcasts really have helped me out a lot. I mean, and it's obviously they inspired me to do this. So to know that I've already helped somebody get through work with this, that's what it's about, really. That stuff goes so much deeper than money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I feel like when you have it in you where you want to inspire and motivate people, um, that to me that's telling you that that's what you need to do, and you need to focus on the things that do that for people and yourself. You know, and that's how we uplift and build. And so I think that that is what you should keep doing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and talking to, I'm really starting to see how much opportunity there is in this area. Like, it surprises me every day that I look further into it because I really think, like I said, if I continue with this and everybody that I have on continues doing what they're doing, I want this to get big so that everybody that I've showcased can get big. Because if that happens, then Maryland, we going to be up.
Don't say if. It's
When?
gonna happen.
Yeah.
When?
Absolutely.
because it's gonna happen. You keep doing this, and that's what's gonna happen because you're moving in your purpose.
See, that's like that was a pattern. Like
Right.
just that's the thing. Sometimes you say things and you don't even realize.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I have been
I
trying
got
to
you
get
though.
better
I
with
got
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last thing about the barbershops, obviously I have to bring up the barbershop movies.
Yeah.
You fuck with those?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, barbershop movies is they classics. Um, funny, definitely tell the stories of the things that can happen and that do happen. So yeah, I mean, hell yeah. They did a dope job with those movies, man. Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna start to get into acting now.
Yeah.
Now you said that you were doing acting classes. I don't know if you ever said where.
Well, I went to acting school,
Okay.
Philadelphia Acting Studio in Philadelphia, and I also took some acting classes.
Okay.
Down in Atlanta.
Nice.
Took some with Terry J. Vaughn. I took one of her classes. She was dope. Definitely, I learned a lot.
They
In
say that that's
class.
like another Hollywood
Oh,
in
man.
Atlanta.
Yeah, she's dope. And yeah, man. So like, I like learning from people who know what they're doing and can bring out of you what you need to be brought out of you because acting, um, it's a muscle that needs to be flexed and worked out.
Mm.
And it's so much deeper than just getting on TV and being in front of a camera. It's so much deeper. Facial expressions, um, memorization, clarity, being able to speak, confidence,
And
confidence.
making it seem like it's not on camera.
Right.
That's the thing. Like when you watch a movie, you kind of forget
Yeah.
that it's a
Yeah.
set where they got to stop all the time. You feel like you're watching like just something happen in life.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's because
That's and it's because of the energy.
Yep.
That's another thing too is being able to bring that energy to life. Because if you're an actor and you're on camera and you doing your lines or whatever, you people have to believe what they're watching because if you don't, then you ever watch something and be like, damn, like what am I watching?
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah, I feel like if you ever have to work in front of a camera, just like try your best not to even focus on the camera
Right.
unless it calls
Well,
for it.
They're not there.
Yeah.
There's a camera on you all day in life anyway, because somebody always sees what you're doing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody's always watching.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Yeah, so Truthless, we're going to talk
Yes.
about that. Now, we talked about how you got involved with Trey Chaney. So how did he approach you about this film?
Trey hit me up one day and was like, listen, he was like, I got this movie that I'm doing, and I want you to be in it. He was like, I have this character, and I think this character would be good for you, Big Lou. So I said, all right. He said, we talked about the details of it. He sent me over the script. I studied the script, and we shot that in Jacksonville. Went down there, shot it, and it was dope, man. It was another learning experience, and awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Trey is a very good actor, and
Absolutely.
definitely somebody to learn things from in that area.
Of course.
Definitely.
Now, on the same note, how did he approach you about, getting beats made for some of his songs and stuff like that?
So when after we did the events at the barbershop, I think I was like, yeah, I make music, right? He was like, do you? I said, yeah. He said, well, damn, we gonna have to, So, I made a few beats. I listened to some of his music, so I can listen to his style, and I made a few beats, and I shot him some beats over, and he was like, yo, like, this is dope. So from there, we just we started collaborating. He would share his ideas with me. I would share my ideas with him. I would shoot him stuff, and then during the pandemic, we came out with quarantine moments. That's on Apple Music. Quarantine. I sent him that beat. He was like, "Oh my god!" He was like, "Yo, this beat is dope." So he had wrote something over that, sent it back to me. I said, "Yo, this is crazy." It was dope. So from there, we just started, making music. Yeah.
Yeah, you produced two songs on his most recent project,
Yeah, yes.
Cheney Vision Dreams
Yeah,
Volume
yeah.
1, No Comp and Life of a Hustler.
Life of a Hustler, yes, yes. They both was on MTV Jams with the videos, man.
Awesome.
So such a blessing. I'm so grateful to been a part of that project, and we're actually working on some more things right now.
Nice.
So
Do you ever like get in the studio together at the same time?
it's crazy because he lives in Atlanta and
Right.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
We do, but not as often as I want to.
Right.
But that still doesn't stop us. Producers and artists, they work with each other all the time, all over the world. And it's like the way technology is you send somebody something and they send it. You can work so easy now efficiently where you don't have to like directly, but we always face to face, we do, Zoom calls. And
Is that a lot more prevalent now for you to just send beats out instead of, working in person with the artists?
Yeah, yeah. So the people I do work with, I got another artist you got to check out. His name is Tage.
Okay.
And I got another artist I work with. His name is Leo Bakari. He's down in Atlanta. But Tage is from Harrisburg, PA also.
Cool.
And he lives in Pittsburgh. But, me and him, we collabed on somebody came into the barbershop one day and they said, "Oh, I was playing some beats," and they, so we ended up collabing like that, and he was dope. But, to answer your question with the sending the music and stuff, that's the normal way now because, everything,
Of
I run a
course.
barbershop and we got our other stuff that we dealing with, so
It's more efficient for
it's
you.
more efficient. It is.
I
Definitely.
feel that. So Power and Money was another movie that you were in. I watched that yesterday.
Yeah.
So I want to bring this up because the movie, it shows the sad reality about like bad role models that we talked about earlier.
Right.
Because it was filmed in Detroit and it kind of showed how kids can get groomed into the street lifestyle because Doe's father, he introduced him into the streets.
Right.
They showed that he taught his younger son how to cook crack, even like co-signed his first hit on somebody.
Right.
So his first murder. So I wanted to kind of talk about just the reality of like grooming in the streets and stuff like that, and also how your barbershop is a space where kids can come to like kind of get away from bad role models and things like that.
Well, it's one of them things where, and it's not an excuse, but it's a explanation
Right.
to where when you have fathers who were taught certain things and never taught to do right things.
That's all they know.
That's all that they know. And I feel like, unfortunately, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that happens where, fathers end up being the wrong kind of role models because they didn't have the right kind of role models. And sometimes kids grow up not having that.
Yep.
They grow up not having a father figure in their life, a positive father figure. So then what happens is they gravitate other places.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of times those places are in the street and they run into people that teach them things that aren't positive.
Yeah, and they risk their life
Right.
a lot of the times.
Right. Yeah, so
So describe, I guess, for the people what your role in the film was and what your experience was like on set.
My role in the film was I was basically a bodyguard / goon / run down on you and do what I had to do if that's what was necessary.
I do have to say, when y'all were in the warehouse where they were like, doing all the packaging and stuff like that, dude, I told my dad when I seen you like holding the rifle, dude, I was like, yo, Todd looks like a straight up official security guard. Like, dude could be walking around like protecting rappers and shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so whatever they told me that needed to be done and handled, that's what my role was in it, to play that role. So it was fun. Shout out to BZ and with the Power and Money production, it was dope. And Before Life, it was dope. It was a lot of dope people that was involved with that.
Absolutely.
I learned a lot. Um, DeAndre Bonds.
I was gonna bring him up. I was gonna ask, what was it like to work
dope.
with him?
Cool dude, man. Funny, down to earth. Uh, we clicked right away. Energy was dope. Felt like family from the door. So
Yeah.
it was awesome to work with somebody who, like him, who's been in the game for years, who's knowledgeable. So
Right.
it was dope to work with somebody like him, man.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on Snowfall? Because he plays this character called Scully in that.
Yeah, Snowfall is dope. I like that show.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that's one of my
Yeah,
definitely
FX
one of my
has.
shows. Yeah, absolutely.
They have some of the best content out right
Oh
now.
my god, yeah.
Because
that
a lot
show
of
is
TV
dope.
shows nowadays are not what they used to be.
Hell yeah. Shout out DeAndre Bond. Shout out Snowfall. Hell yeah. They killed that on there. The actors on there.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
do a phenomenal
I was
job.
I was definitely surprised. Like I was totally expecting good things based off the trailer, but they really did a good job. But I have heard that like so apparently that's like very similar if not Rick Ross's actual story, like Freeway Rick Ross.
Mm.
But apparently he's got nothing to do with that show. So I think I've heard like in interviews and stuff that he was like upset about it. But
Yeah,
other than that, it's excellent cinema, you know.
it is.
And that's the thing. People got to realize that no matter what, cinema usually will not glorify, but like kind of change things to fit, make it more
I know.
cinematic, you know?
I like Rick Ross's music. At the same time, the real Freeway Ricky,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to respect that that's who he is.
Oh, yeah.
He is Rick Ross. You know what I mean? So to me, I mean like you gotta respect that.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
You have to respect a person for being who they are. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like you can't take that away from them.
No,
You know
no.
what I mean? So with that being said, that's what I'm gonna say on that.
Yeah, and also Fat Boy SSE was on the Power and Money thing,
Fat
and
Boy, yeah. He's dope. He's a funny dude, man. Yeah, he's also rapper, comedian.
yeah, he
good
blew up with
actor.
his skits and stuff.
Yeah. He's a funny dude. Yeah, he was cool as hell, man. Good dude. Um, the whole team on there, man. From the cameraman to it was. I met so many amazing people on that set. So
Nice.
definitely grateful for that. You know.
Yeah, so that was filmed in Detroit. I kind of wanted you to talk about like your travel experience, and what that's been like getting to go to places like Atlanta. I saw on Instagram you had a picture in Atlanta with Trey Chaney and Clifton
Yeah.
Powell, and in New York with Trey Chaney doing the We Own the City thing.
So we shot a piece of the Making It movie, which with Young Ra
Yeah.
from Detroit. Also got some music that we had put out with him. We worked with artists like the late K Slay, rest in peace, man.
Absolutely.
Dope. So yeah, we shot the movie Making It in there in Atlanta, and yeah, that was dope. We Own the City. That premiere of that was dope, man. It was the energy on that was so crazy that it was so dope.
A lot of amazing talent
Oh my
involved in
God.
that.
The room was filled with nothing but love and positive energy, and just a whole bunch of beautiful people, man. That was just it was just a whole bunch of love and a whole bunch of grateful people, and it was just a very nice evening. That was a very nice evening, man, and I was just
Nice.
so grateful that Trey included me on in that. You know, what I mean, I was definitely grateful for that.
Absolutely. I did have a note about Young Ra because I noticed that you two work
Yeah,
together, and you even like you got one of his songs that you produced. It was on Billboard, right? Times
yeah,
Square.
yeah, yeah. Inshallah. Yeah, yep. Mhm.
So just talk about working with him. Both
Um,
musically and acting.
dope artist. Good actor. He's the one. Like I said, the making the movie was his. Um, lyrical, cool dude. Traveled back and forth to Detroit. Did a few songs with him. And yeah, man, cool guy.
Nice. So what's the plot of that film? Making it.
Mm,
It was all good 30 minutes ago.
right. So making it was I guess it was an insight on his life and his musician life and as a rapper and showing the stuff that him and his kids go through because his kids they also do music too and about how people can be shady and
Right.
turn on you and you know how it is.
Absolutely. I remember reading the description of the movie, and it was
Yeah,
something about him having to get like 2,000. I'm sorry, $200,000
yeah,
together or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yep.
I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yep.
Um, so other than Trey Cheney, who are some of your other role models as far as acting goes?
Oh my goodness.
And this could be like beyond personal relationships. Just like any actors that you like kind of looked up to as a kid and stuff.
I love Denzel Washington.
Mm.
I like Denzel Washington. Um, who else? Always been a Eddie Murphy fan. He has a new one that's on Netflix.
Is it the one with Jonah Hill?
Yes, that's a good movie.
I'll have to check it
Yeah,
out.
that's a good movie, man. Funny. Um, man, who else? So many of them. Forrest Whitaker,
Mm.
Don Cheadle, whole bunch of people, man.
Of course.
I even Clifton Powell, man. Even before I had met him, Clifton Powell was always somebody that I really liked. Um, my one of my favorite movies is Dead Presidents, and
Okay.
his character he played in on Dead Presidents. Um, you know, damn, so Lorenz Tate, all So I respect all them guys, man, and you know, I watch a lot of films by them because, like I said before, it's the craft of acting is you can never learn too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's always something to learn, and you can always perfect it and hone it.
Of course.
So
It's the same thing with this, because what I'm doing is basically I'm practicing communicating,
yeah,
and I feel like it's never a bad thing to
yeah.
keep communicating with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why like reading is important and just talking with people and having good educational kind of conversations and stuff because all of that works your brain and it kind of makes you a better conversationalist, it improves your social skills and stuff like that. And that's the thing with like technology and stuff. It kind of prevents people from going out and actually interacting with other people,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that can kind of cause like a whole bunch of problems. There's a lot of negative side effects to. Humans are social creatures. They have to
Right.
be around other people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back into producing a little bit. You said you started taking it serious. Not too long ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did your desire to make music as far as beats come before your desire to make music?
So to me, it's kind of all tied in because it's kind of like um, I've always played the keyboard slash piano. So to me, it was like it was never just about beat making. So to me, it's like as a musician, I'm a musician.
Right.
I make beats, but I'm a musician who makes beats. So um, I always made music, but I just feel like within the last few years, I took it serious, more serious, because it's like I realized how much time went by that I could have been doing the stuff that I'm doing now. But with that being said, I also understand now the process that makes me appreciate the things that I'm doing now more. So if I look at something and I'm like, damn, I could have been doing this 10 years ago, I could have, but I don't think I would have been doing it like how I'm doing it now because I
Absolutely.
wasn't who I am today 10 years ago.
Of course.
You know, even the discipline that I have now was no way that I had that 10 years ago. My
Oh,
mindset, you know, was nowhere near the way that I think about, even the stuff that we're talking about with the energy stuff and the inspiration thing and the manifestation. Like what you said, you know, you speak you speak things into existence right on the way
yep.
to work. You're speaking into existence. Like that's so powerful. Like somebody that's your age that knows that, oh my God, like that's that's powerful. And a lot
Yeah.
of people don't got that. A lot of people don't know that. So
That's why I want to spread it to the people that are
yes,
my age,
yeah,
starting bands, doing things
yes,
like that. Because really, if everybody starts to do that,
yeah,
if I can uplift somebody and then they uplift
yeah,
somebody, that's the kind of chain reaction we need in life
yeah.
instead of a negative one.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
that's a wave. It's like when you throw a rock in the water and you see the waves ripple, right?
Yes.
You got to throw the rock first before you see that. So knowing what you want to do and knowing that that's what you need to do is the rock. You threw it in the water, so now all that stuff is going to do is ripple the effects of positivity into what you're doing. You know what I mean? And it's going to make it. It's going to go into something bigger.
And what's sad is when negativity has a ripple effect, it's usually like at a
It
much quicker
destroys.
rate. It's at a
It's a
much faster
cancer.
rate. Yes.
Negativity is a cancer. It really is.
I've watched two people start to argue, and then next thing you know, one of them's arguing with their girlfriend or whatever, and
Right.
it's like that's just because negativity has a big chain reaction,
It
and it's
affects
really
everything.
easy. I
It'll
notice it at
destroy
work.
everything.
I notice it at work.
And but like I said, it starts within you, and
Hmm.
like we were saying earlier, like it's ways. There's ways to communicate with people, and there's ways to kind of like repel that type of stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's ways to repel that negativity when you know who you are and you know what you stand for. You ain't gotta be somebody to take stuff off of somebody. You speak your mind and let people know where you come from. Don't let people run over you because if you do, that's what they gonna do. You set that bar.
Exactly.
But there's ways to go about it. You don't have to tear people down to get your point across. You don't have to do that. So
But you have to let them know that you have
but you gotta.
self-respect.
That's right. You
You have
gotta. You have
boundaries.
to draw. You have to set boundaries because if you don't, imagine streets that ain't got no stop sign. Everybody's running into each other.
Hmm. And I like what you said about the discipline and kind of like it taking a long time to build that, and
Right.
it all starts with just having the mentality, because I'm really just starting that mindfulness journey and whatnot, with with the affirmations, the
Right.
manifesting stuff like that. It's all kind of fairly new to me,
Mm-hmm.
so just the fact that I have the thought of it is better than anything else,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll admit I could be more disciplined in a lot of ways, but
Right.
even when I'm not doing the things that I should be doing, the back of my head is going, you should have done that. And I think a lot of people get beat up because they don't do the thing, they don't wake up and work out, whatever. But
Right.
as long as something in the back of your head is telling you that like, man, you should have got up and did it, even if you tell yourself tomorrow I'm gonna do it,
Right.
and you don't do it tomorrow,
Right.
at least you still have that in the back of your head.
Right.
It's kind of the thing where they say like psychopaths, they don't know that they're psychopaths. So if someone is going through stuff and
Yeah.
they go, I'm crazy, I know I'm crazy, they're like, you're not crazy, because a crazy person wouldn't admit that.
Right.
So you just got to have that mindset. And if you stick with the mindset, eventually, changes will come.
Exactly. Oh, another thing. Did you watch Mayor of Kingstown?
Did I watch what?
Mayor of Kingstown.
I don't think so.
You have to check that out. That's on Paramount Plus. I'm also in that too.
Oh, okay.
So check that out. That show is dope.
You'll have to text me the
Oh
name
my
of
God,
that.
yeah.
I'll definitely check
Yep.
that out. So were you making beats like for yourself to start?
Um, well, okay. So when I first started making beats, I was, let me see, 12 years old. I
Wow.
was in seventh grade, and that's when I started recording beats. And at the time, when I was younger, my friend Matt, that was my best friend, Matt Wilford. They call him Medi, Metaphor, and we grew up together in Harrisburg, out Edgemont, and he rapped. He was a dope rapper, and God rest his soul, he passed away. Um, and so we used to make beats together, and he would rap over them, and we was recording, and we would record it, and I would take the tapes to school and let people listen to it and stuff like that. So that's the first when I first had been recording
Okay. What equipment did you
music.
use at that time?
Oh my God, I was sneaking on my dad's equipment. He had a Nsonic VFX SD, Nsonic, and he had the same brand of what you get, the Tascam recorder, and I used to, yeah.
That's cool though, man. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Sometimes you do gotta
Yep.
you gotta sneak it yourself. Even if they get a little mad, they'll eventually see like, hey, he just really wants to do it.
Yep.
You know. So like you were saying, you had to sneak to use some of this equipment and stuff like that. Did there reach a point where he was letting you use the stuff and teaching you how to use it?
Listen, he would teach me how to use the stuff, but my dad didn't play with nobody messing with his stuff when he was, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
That's just the way it was.
So what equipment are you using now as far as?
Now, I am keyboard wise. I love Korg. Korg is actually the first keyboard that I had played on when I was a kid. So
Okay.
he had that around, and that's what he had a Korg Poly 800. Anybody that knows anything about music, Korg has some of the best sounds in the world, some of the best synth sounds.
Okay.
People like Sting and Phil Collins, and you know what I mean? Like them sounds and the Korg are just like timeless. And even today, they still have some of them same sounds with the newer sounds in it. So I use a Korg.
So does that make sounds kind of like, speaking of Phil Collins,
Uh,
that song "In the Air Tonight,"
yeah,
that sort of sound at the beginning, that doo doo
yeah.
doo doo
All
doo,
that.
that
They,
those are the sounds you're talking about, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So I use a Korg Nautilus and a Korg Kronos. I have. They're pretty much the same thing. Kronos is a little bit like a more compacted version of what the Nautilus is a more compacted version of what the Kronos is. So the Kronos is like the Rolls Royce.
Gotcha.
The Nautilus is like the Phantom. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, yeah.
they're both Rolls Royces, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
One's a
see.
two one's a 2 door and one's a 4 door. Whichever one's a 2 door and 4 door. That's what it is.
I
But
gotcha.
they both the creme de la creme
Yes,
of what
yes.
they do.
You're in a Rolls Royce either way.
Yeah. You know. Yeah.
So who was the first person you ever made a beat for
The first person I ever made a beat for.
and got paid? Let me put it that way. Like professionally, who was the first person you made a beat for?
Professionally?
Yeah, because you said you would you and your friend that rapped would make stuff together. So
Okay, so
you could
the
even go.
first person I ever made a beat for professionally and got paid for. Guess who it was?
Was it Trey?
It was Trey.
Gotcha.
It was Trey.
That's
It was
cool.
Trey.
So, but as far as other people, like at a younger age and stuff, were you working with people?
Oh my God, yeah! I was working with a group of people, and we were in and out of it. You know what I mean? And people, when I was younger, I really, like I said, I didn't take it as serious. And it was like, you working and doing this. I think when I was younger, I didn't have the disciplined mindset to stay focused on that and still do the other things. Like how you do now. That's what I'm saying. You special, man. Because I'm telling you, like,
Thank you.
that's so dope that you have the mindset to know that you're going to work and you're using that to do what you trying to do. Other than that, and
Well, I gotta thank
that's
people
big.
like you and people like Trey Cheney because really that stuff it gets fed to me, you know, through your motivational posts, stuff
Yeah,
like
man.
that, and just other people, you know, other podcasts that I listen to.
Hey,
A lot of people listen to that stuff and they appreciate it, but like you got to use that as knowledge and you got to really take what those people say and use it. You know, knowledge is only good if you apply it, basically. That's a saying I've heard.
absolutely. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
So, you know,
So how would you describe your sound when it comes to your producing?
my sound I think is affected by soul music. It's affected by straight hip hop. Like I'm a hip hop head,
Right.
right? So, you know, um, when I make music, I like it to have certain chords in it that pull you in from the soul music sound of it. But I also like a beat that is hip hop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I like music. I like people who talk about something on music. You know what I mean?
You like some
I like
substance.
substance, um, and I like messages, and I like stories. Yes.
I
So
gotcha.
yeah.
So as far as like the newer generation of producers and rappers, you know, is there anybody that you like?
I like Chance the Rapper's dope.
Yeah,
Um, Kendrick Lamar been around for a minute, but
he
I do
has.
like his latest album is dope. I like Kendrick.
Yeah, that
Kendrick is dope.
that had some, you know, not big variety because you know he's always had some different
Yeah.
styles and stuff like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I did like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know.
He's lyrical, you know. I listen to I like Big Sean. I like
Okay.
you know, like I said, I like let me see, who else is new that I like?
Do you get into Griselda?
Yes. Yes.
Because the way that you would describe like your style, it reminded
Yes.
me of them because they have
Yes.
West Side Gun especially has like very
Oh my
soulful
God.
type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
beats,
yeah,
and then
yeah. He's
it's
dope.
also
Yeah, West Side Gunna, Conway the Machine,
mm,
um, all of them is dope. They hold Benny the Butcher, all of them. 38 Special, uh, yes, yeah.
cool. And any producers that you can think of?
Um, I would say Hit Boy.
Okay.
Hit Boy's cold. The new the new Nas album's crazy. The new Nas album's crazy. Um,
I like The Alchemist. I think he's done a lot of cool work.
Alchemist is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, who else?
I know Conductor did a bunch of stuff. I don't know if that's he might have another part of the name, but
Scott Storch is dope.
oh yeah,
Scott Storch is dope.
he's got an interesting story.
David Banner's dope.
Yes,
David Banner's dope. Actually,
like a
got
pimp.
one of his shirts on today. Shout out to David Banner for the shirt. He's dope. Let me see. Yeah, man. Premiere. Like I said, Premiere. Tory Lanez is dope.
Yeah,
Tory Lanez is dope. You know, yeah, man.
cool. Um, Now aside from the equipment that you talked about that you use, is there any like good equipment that you would suggest for a beginner, someone that's trying to get into stuff,
For a beginner,
or even like programs and stuff like that? You know, maybe that's something I should have mentioned.
so I use a DAW by the name of Ableton Live. Ableton Live is a dope program. You know, I would pick one and stick with it because it can get it can get complex trying to
It
learn
can.
3 or 4 different ones at a time.
Yes.
Um, some people like to use Pro Tools. Um, some people like to use Fruity Loops. Um, yeah, man. So I would just I'm an Ableton dude. I like Ableton Live.
Okay.
I think that Oh, Timberland. How can I not mention Timberland? Because Timberland actually, from watching Timberland, he's the one that actually put me on to the Ableton.
Okay.
I seen that he was using it, and I liked the way he was working with it. So that's the one I started with, and that's the one I've been using.
I gotcha. So aside from, Trey Chaney, Young Ra, the other artists that you mentioned that you're working with now, who else have you worked with that people should know about?
Um, like I said, Tage.
Right.
Tage is, we have music on Apple Music. Um, so look him up.
Is there any other
Tage.
locals that you've been working with?
Um, I got a dude. His name is Craze. We gonna do some stuff.
Okay.
I have a few other cats that I'm looking into working with. So, yeah.
Cool. Um, so that's really all I have as far as your like professional career and stuff like that. But I did want to ask, like aside from like hair cutting and producing and stuff like that, what other kind of like hobbies do you got?
Um, I like to travel, man.
Okay.
I like to travel. I like to read. I like to watch comedy. I love to laugh.
Okay. Is that are you talking about stand up comedy and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that?
like stand up comedy. I like watching comedy. And I'm a laid back dude, man. I'm a pretty laid back dude, man.
I gotcha.
I don't be. I'm all about. Honestly, these days I spend most of my time thinking about what I can do to get further or learn the things that I need to learn to help me do what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and I like. I don't know, man. I'm just a big energy guy, man. Like I'm so big on energy, and I'm just laid back, man. I'm simple. I'm not nobody complicated. I like to travel. I like the water. Um,
They say that if you go outside and if you're around an area of body of water for just like 30 minutes or something like that, it has like real effects on your mental
Relaxation.
health.
Hell yeah. So I like peace and quiet. I like
Something,
peace and quiet.
something, man. In the warehouse I work in, there's so many belts and machines and fans going. It took me a while to realize that all of that noise makes me uncomfortable. So when I come home, it's nice to have peace and quiet. So that air humidifier you see behind you, me and my dad will be down here smoking cigars. And if I go upstairs to use the bathroom, he'll like crank it up all the way, which I get it because it helps clear the air and stuff like that.
That's
But
a
it's
nice one too.
See, but it's so loud when you turn it to max that it's like I don't like it that
Now, have you
loud.
noticed the difference since you've gotten it? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps for sure.
Okay.
Especially cause, well, I gotta ask, did you smell any kind of smoke when you came down here?
No.
I know
I
this
don't
this
smell
Mason
smoke.
Margiela
Uh-uh.
candle helped over there,
Uh-uh.
but no, normally it kind
Yeah.
of does, cause
Oh,
we're
okay.
we're down here like every day basically smoking
Oh,
stogies.
okay.
So
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I see. I see you. You're a big cigar guy. Now, what's your favorite cigar?
I love Davidoff
Yeah.
cigars. But if I'm like
Hmm.
recommending cigars to somebody, unless they're willing to spend the Davidoff money, because most of their cigars are like $20, $25. Um, I do like Rocky Patel cigars
Oh,
too. They're a
okay.
little bit more on the affordable side, and but they have that kind of luxury feel to them.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be spending a
Now,
ridiculous amount.
Davidoff, you talking about the guy that makes cool water?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So they started they probably started in like Cuba, their
Oh,
factories and
okay.
stuff, but I know they
Cool.
once the Cuban thing happened, they moved to Geneva, so now they call Davidoff of Geneva.
Oh, okay.
But they're like one of the highest end makers of cigars, kind of like
Hmm.
Cohiba and stuff like that. Um, but really there's not a lot of bad sticks out there,
Oh, okay.
It's like it's very subjective in my opinion because at the end of the day, it kind of most of them are the same. I've paid
Yeah.
for very expensive cigars and I've smoked, $5 cigars
Man,
and
I haven't smoked a cigar in years. I have a couple clients. They smoke them, and like during Christmas, they'll bring me a couple of them. And damn, yo, you're gonna be like I'm tripping, but somebody gave me a cigar one time. I think I just found it in my trunk.
it
I
happens,
put it in my
man,
trunk. I said, damn, I picked it up and it just kind of like crumbled.
Oof.
I said, damn, I wasted
Nah, if you, it's okay.
I always did a cigar.
Yeah, it happened. Oh well, dude, I was at the lounge and these two guys were there hanging out. And when they left, I noticed they literally had like this much of their cigars left. And I looked over and I tapped my dad. I was like, "Yo, you see that shit, dude?" I was like, "That's
You wasted.
crazy." Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
literally, like the thing with cigars is like you're kind of literally burning money.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
sheesh. When you say it like that, it's like,
But
oh
that's what
Lord.
that's
Yeah.
I mean, we need food to live, so it's
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
different. But at the same time, it's like there's people that spend hundreds on dinners, and
right,
it's like,
right.
at,
Listen, man, you have to enjoy the fruits of your labor,
of
man. And
course,
there's nothing wrong with doing that. You have to enjoy yourself. You have to enjoy your life. It's not, if you're working and that's a part of self taking care of
of
yourself
course,
also, you know what I mean, is enjoying and you got to, you have to.
yeah, and it's a sad reality, but you never know when your time's gonna come,
Right.
so you don't want to be waiting too long to start doing
Right.
anything. You
Right.
know what I mean? You got to realize like today could be your last day, so you got to make sure that you do something you enjoy every day.
That's right, man. And with that being said, I feel like when I lost my mom in 2010, I feel like um, it kind of kick started. Not kind of, it did. It kick started something in me to be like, damn, oh shit, like time is short.
Yeah,
Time is real short. So that's why every day we gotta do something that means something. Every day you gotta do something that means something because if you don't, what are you doing?
exactly. My the fourth interview that I did, it was my buddy Sam Celentano, and we had a big conversation about he practices like Hare Krishna stuff
Right.
like that, and he was talking about how if humans aren't striving for greatness, whether that be spiritually, mentally,
Right.
physically, if they're just kind of going through life trying not to better themselves in any
Right.
way, we really aren't that much different from a lot of animals, if you're
Yeah.
not trying to strive to be better.
Right.
That sounds a little harsh, calling human animals, but
Well.
basically it's saying like that's what makes humans different.
Right.
We have a conscious mind where
Yeah.
we know like I said, where we can strive to be more
Right.
spiritual.
Right.
That's
You
what.
have a spirit. You can make a conscious decision
Yes.
and think to make a conscious decision. Um, we were yesterday. We was talking at work, and we were talking about being in competition, and like I was telling somebody like I'm not in competition with other people.
Right.
I'm only in competition with who I was yesterday. I'm
Mm,
trying to be I'm competing with who I was
exactly.
yesterday because me trying to compete, I get it in sports, that's one thing. But I'm talking about self, not trying to get points on the scoreboard, right?
Yeah.
That's different than trying to
Of
be
course.
somebody better than who you was or competing with who a person is. You know what I'm saying? And who they are, it's their spirit, right? So to me, I feel like I'm in competition with who I was yesterday, not looking at somebody trying to compete. If shit, if I think that you got something good, I'd rather try to learn from you than compete with you because shit, you
Right.
might help me. You might
Exactly.
inspire me to be something better than what I was yesterday. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. And I'm just kind of thinking of like other kind of random personal questions. What kind of shows and movies you've been watching lately?
I Mayor of Kingstown is dope. Check
Okay.
it out. That's a dope show. Good storyline. It's about the prison system, but it's also ties in, the street drug game and stuff with that.
Okay. Definitely my
Um,
kind of
yeah.
vibe because I like the gangster movies, all that
Okay.
sort of stuff.
Yeah. Jeremy Renner's in that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so what else? Um, I like Snowfall. I like BMF.
Okay.
Is really dope. I think what 50 Cent is doing with those shows are amazing. Um, you know, so shout out to that production is that's really what I've been into lately, though,
Okay.
man. Like the power book getting ready to come back on, and the BMF,
Yeah.
and so yeah, man. Like those have really been the shows that I've been like kind of staying up with.
Cool.
Yeah.
And is there, this is pretty much the last note. Is there anything upcoming that you're doing that people should be on the lookout for?
There's a lot of stuff upcoming.
Cool.
Oh my God. Ugh. I also got some music with Ninth Prince that's coming out soon. Ninth
Cool.
Prince of the Killer Army.
Okay.
That is. So with that, I got music coming. Me and Trey got more stuff coming out.
Dope.
It's a whole lot of films and stuff that's coming out. It's stuff I'm studying for. I really can't specifically talk about
Right,
the
right.
project because they're not out yet, so I don't want
Of
to
course.
put anybody's stuff out. But
Yeah, definitely don't.
just know, yes, it's a lot coming, bro. It's a lot coming because I'm constantly studying. I'm constantly going on auditions, and I'm always cooking up music. Every day I cook up music, so I'm always.
I see that on your Instagram. You
Yes.
constantly posting your
Always,
sessions and
yes,
stuff.
always doing something. So, oh my God, yes.
And that stuff is motivating, I gotta say,
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I mean, well, and I've been trying to clear my feed of stuff that, doesn't motivate me,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
people that just aren't,
Right.
even, like, people that just don't even care about me. Like, why am I following these people?
Listen,
I want to go on my page and be inspired,
Right. Social media can be energy draining because
Yes.
that's transferring energy too. So you got to be careful what Shit, I ain't scared of following somebody if it ain't
Yeah.
nothing that's productive or something that got something to do with inspiring me or whatever.
Yeah.
I might do that too. I think I need to do that.
Yeah.
Flush. System flush.
Over the past couple months, I've unfollowed like
Detox.
a few hundred. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I feel like everybody typically tends to follow more people than they follow or that are following them.
Right.
And you shouldn't be worried about followers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
now I'm at a point where I'm following like way less people that are following me.
It's nice to get support and be supportive, especially when you have personal relationships with people. I try to be supportive of people that I know that I follow, and especially when somebody's doing something positive. You know what I mean? like I said, I like seeing people do things that are good. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Like, I understand people hating. I think it's just like confused admiration. Like they really love you, but it's like they hate. And oh my God, it's like a full-time second job staying away from that type of stuff, man, because that stuff is negative, man.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get, what it actually takes to become successful. They don't understand that, like, while they're slacking, we're working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's the difference. That's why, give it another 5-10 years. That's why me and you and everybody else, we're going to be on whole other levels of success, but that's because right now we got that money. Yeah, exactly.
Put in the work. You don't get nothing out of it.
You got to be working while people are sleeping, all that, saving while people are spending. That can be hard.
Yeah, that's another podcast conversation. Because man, yes, time, money, and yes.
Time becomes a lot more valuable than money does, but also time can be worth. That's why time's worth money. You got to understand that.
Time and energy is currency.
Yes.
Because it's like those things is that's important currency because those are things that can't get time back. Can't get energy wasted. You can always you can revive yourself of energy, but think of the energy that you waste on something that you could be doing something else with.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, that shit is expensive when you don't do it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it can cost you a lot more,
Hell yeah.
too.
Yep.
Is there anything else you got to add, Todd?
Nah, man, look, I appreciate, I'm so grateful that you had me come back.
Of course. I appreciate you too, man.
Absolutely.
It was great to meet you the first time, and I knew immediately. I said I got to get him back in because, you were talking on that same motivation. You were on the same level as Trey, and I was like, I fuck with this. I need to,
Hell yeah.
I'm always about collaborating and building relationships and stuff. And one last note, it's like you would talk about how it's important, just to, get that energy out there to other people and stuff like that. People, love it when you kind of motivate them and stuff. I forget exactly what you said, but you said it's cool to see, other people doing stuff.
Right.
So, one of the girls that I follow on Instagram that I've like kind of known since elementary school in a way, like going to school with her sisters and stuff. But I noticed that she's been like modeling for like local like clothing brands and stuff like that, like pretty big ones too.
Dope.
So I just said like, hey, I think it's really cool that you're out here modeling and
Dope,
stuff
yeah.
like that. And I said, a lot of people try to be influencers, but like you'll go far if you keep up because you clearly got the ability to make connections and stuff like that. And she responded very, happily and stuff like that. And like it's good to know that I'm putting that energy out there and it's getting received,
Keep doing it, man. Don't ever let nobody change you or make you think that what you're doing isn't gonna be appreciated, because it's gonna be,
Absolutely.
It's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't, when you put out positivity into the universe, that's what you're gonna get back.
Of course, karma and all that.
That's what you're gonna get back.
Absolutely.
The universal law. You know what I mean? It is. You attract what you put out.
Most definitely. And, that's why you said surrounding yourself with people, that's important. There's the saying, you're the sum of the 3 people that you surround yourself with the most.
Yes.
So, yeah, you just got to be careful about who you're putting your whose energy you're receiving and, what you're giving.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, this was dope, man. This was really dope. I enjoyed myself. I'm glad I came. I know we're going to do other stuff. And
of course.
Like I said, I know this is just the beginning of something bigger.
Absolutely.
Because we're both pursuing our dreams.
Yeah, and as you continue to do more and I continue to do more, we'll get you back in. One day I'll have a big studio.
Oh my God. Hell yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Everybody, everyone that's following a dream, you just got to be patient, Keep seeing it in your head and it'll happen. So, anything else?
Nah, man, I appreciate it.
You want to promote your socials one last time?
Media, Be a True Legend at IG. Follow me on there. And a lot of dope things coming up. Acting, music.
More podcasts.
More podcasts. I'm always going to inspire. I'm always going to motivate. Let's keep it going. Anybody, if you're positive and you about motivating, follow me. If you're negative,
stay away. All right.